Hey everyone, you're listening to Party Time, My Golf Story with Kevin Walsh and whatever special guest he has today. You can check me out on episode 9 of the podcast. Today I'm wearing Grayson clothes while I'm out practicing because I believe in look good, play good. And follow me on Instagram, Sophia Warren Golf, and hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
It's Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. Classically designed golf drinks for golfers by golfers. And the golf real estate pros Gene Walsh and Vince Visicaro. For your Southwest Florida real estate needs, check them out at suncoastdreams.com. Now here's your host, Kevin Walsh.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the show. We have a good guest. It's Stuart Winsby. He is the head coach at Weber International University in Florida, has a good golf team. He's a good golfer. He's a caddy. He's a dad. He's an Irishman. He's a man of the world. He's one of the most fascinating people I know, and I knew he'd make a great guest, and that's why we have him on the program. A couple things I want to share with you. First, an update on the business of the show. We are almost at 4,000 subscribers. Thank you very much. It's because of you that we're at that number, and 170,000 views on YouTube. That doesn't count other listening platforms like Spotify and Apple. But the numbers keep growing, and I think the real reason is the quality of the guests that we have, because everybody that comes on really talks about their life in detail and the important role that golf has in it. They make themselves vulnerable. They're incredibly honest with everything, how much they love the game, talk about the times they've hated the game, and be honest with yourself. You know you've hated the game at some time. But continue to help us out with the program by subscribing if you haven't done it already, liking it, and sharing it with a friend, and maybe leaving a review. Because the nerds at Google and YouTube, they like that stuff, and so do our sponsors. Speaking of the sponsors, big thanks to Party Drinks. If you're looking for adult beverage alternative on the golf course, if you're tired of beer or seltzers that taste like crap and you're trying to convince yourself they taste good, try a Party. For golfers, by golfers, real cocktails, not even a seltzer. Doesn't get much better than a Party, and Transfusion, far and away, are number one. And the Golf Real Estate Pros of Vince Visicaro and Gene Walsh from suncoastdreams.com, a division of fine properties. If your dream is to live in a golf resort area on Florida's beautiful Suncoast, especially the Sarasota area, especially Lakewood National Golf Club, 2 Arnold Palmer designed golf courses, the best golf community in America. There are some vacancies, availabilities. Gene Events can get you all set up with that. All right, let's bring the man of the hour on, Stuart Winsby, my man, Irish Stu, as we call him around the caddy yard, the coach at Weber International University. Yep. How's it going, buddy?
We're good. Everything's good. Just wrapped up the season yesterday, actually, so ready for some downtime, actually.
Well, let's just finish up some loose ends. How was the season?
Yeah, it was good. I had a pretty young team, so we're basically not rebuilding, but we're sort of getting some of the new guys in, getting them a bit of experience. So, yeah, I guess building for the future. Second tournament of the year, we finished second behind the Kaiser, who were ranked number 2 at the time. So, we've had a good start, had a rough finish, but plenty to build on going forward into the spring anyway.
Give me a little geographical lesson, and we're going to split that in 2 parts. The homeland, because I think people are picking up on the accent right away. Yeah. So we'll get into life in Northern Ireland, but life around Weber International. Where exactly is it in Florida, and what is life like there? Give me a feel for what the school campus and vibe is like.
Yeah, so basically, the way I describe Weber is it's basically right in the middle of the state. 45 minutes south of Disney, an hour south of Disney, I guess. We're just outside Lake Wales, Babson Park area. So, we're for an hour from Orlando, an hour from Tampa. In regards to, the campus actual location, it's a little bit out of the way. But, the school's got 95% athletes, 1,000 students, pretty much 95% of them are athletes. So, everyone goes there for the same goals to win, to compete. So, the location doesn't matter as much, I guess, for the athletes as it does to, someone who's going there for, the social side of things. But, Weber as a whole, like I said, we're a small school. We're basically a close-knit family. That's the way I describe it. We help each student through the 4 years, or even through the master's for MBA programs if they choose to do that. So for however long they're at Weber, we help them through there. We have an open door policy. We look after the students. It's Weber International University, so we do have a lot of international students. So we like to help them settle in. Give them new experiences. And we sort of tailor it towards, like I said, athletes, and we are a big athletic school.
Perfect. So if sports are important and an education and just a well-rounded experience, that's the place for you. It turns out it was the place for you because you're a graduate and got your MBA through
Correct.
Weber International. So, man, what a ride. But let's go back to the beginning. Let's retrace our steps. Where are you from? Describe your hometown, the street you lived on, and what life was like growing up for you in Northern Ireland.
Yeah, so originally from Northern Ireland, small countryside called Isle of Magee. It's like a little peninsula on basically the northeast corner of Northern Ireland, and yeah, I mean, I'm used to the countryside. That is, I like to be out of the way. I have one neighbour next door, and basically the next house was a mile down the road. You couldn't even see it, so. My parents had 3 acres of land, so me and my brother, we were out running about all the time. We basically were 10 minutes from the nearest store, to a grocery store. So, I'm used to being out of the way. It was a typical countryside in Ireland. Beautiful scenery, green grass. I'm like 5 minutes from the water. From basically where one of the ferries leave Larnloch to Scotland. So, I've been on that. So I got, the beautiful view of the ocean and all the ferries going by, not from my house, but within 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes of where I live. The golf courses are on the coast, so, small town, Northern Ireland. Honestly, probably 200 people, 300 people maybe from the whole town. But, there's more grass or probably more fields than there is people there for sure in Isle of Magee. But yeah, I mean, like I always tell everyone that I talk to, home will always be home. But yeah, I mean, small little town, small little countryside in the northeast corner of Ireland.
But home for you now is America, and I know you like it. I want to get into that, like an expat's view of what life is like in America, because I know you're married to an American woman, and it seems like you're here to stay.
Sure.
You're happy here. This is the land of opportunity. It's certainly given you a good opportunity.
Sure.
Tell me about the golf opportunity. When did golf enter the picture in your life?
Probably about 22, 23 years ago, when I was about 9 or 10 years old. Basically, I played soccer all my life. Played a little bit of rugby, and I had this injury basically that my bones were growing faster than my ligaments, and it got to the point where it couldn't keep up. So the doctor or the physio basically was like, you have to sort of stop for a year. At any moment your ligament or your tendons could just go like that because they're so stretched. So basically I stopped. My dad was like, well, you're not sitting around. He was an athlete. He played cricket at a very high level. So he was basically, in one of the summer, he was like, you're either going to play golf or you're going to play cricket, but I'd rather you played golf. And I basically was like, my brother and I were like, we're not playing golf. And he was like, you are. And, one Tuesday after morning, they did a junior competition at the local golf course, about 5 minutes down the road. And it was for beginners. They had beginners, obviously, and the more you played, the more you moved up, and basically started like 3 hole. You played 3 holes when you were a kid, then you went to 5, then to 9, and then obviously as you get older, then you played all 18. So, we went there and played one Tuesday. We loved it. Went back the next Tuesday, loved it again. My parents bought us, both myself and my brother, clubs. Like the US kids clubs the next day, and basically that's how it started, and that's how it took off.
Were you surprised at how much you liked it? Because you said you resisted at first.
Yeah,
from your dad.
I think, coming from Ireland back then, golf wasn't the in thing to do. It wasn't the in sport. At 10, 11, 12, in primary school, going into secondary school, that wasn't, everyone basically played football, soccer, if we.
Yeah, it wasn't cool.
No, it was all exactly. And that's basically, neither was cricket, so it was, but yeah, I mean, it was one of those things. I was always good with a racket or something, or a club or a bat in my hand, more so than I was with, rugby or soccer. I was pretty good at it, but, I was never as good as, a racket sport or golf or something along those lines. But yeah, I mean, that's basically how it started. I mean,
but you got good pretty quick, right?
Yeah. Basically, this was in the start of the summer, and then basically the first summer, I was at the age that you played 5 holes, and well, I was sort of in between the 5 holes and the 9 holes, and they put me to the 5 holes because I was a beginner. I took to it so quick that I basically won the Order of Merit that year. I mean, I was a little older than the rest. They were reluctant to give it to me because I was, but at the end of the day, they put me in that category. So, I was entitled to win it. If you put me there, if I have the chance, to compete, and you're putting me in the Order of Merit, then if I win it, I win it,
Oh, hey, look who it is. It's Did you sneak in on me again?
I snuck in, Kevin.
Yes.
You didn't see me.
Well, here you are, and I'm glad you're here. It's been a while since you've been here, about a month or so, and a lot has happened. How's the market doing?
The market's doing great. It's picking up. We had a Hurricane Milton, and we're recovering, cleaning up. The good news is that we're not in a flood zone. We didn't have as much damage and devastation as the coast did, but we're grateful to be here and to be working again. It's a good time to buy. It's a good time to sell.
And people are coming a little bit early. We usually don't talk about the season until December, but it seems like some people are getting ahead of the game.
They are. Properties are going under contract, and they're going quickly. So if you've had your eye on a property and you've been watching the market and houses have been sitting for a little bit of time, you're seeing a change to that for sure. So it's time to get serious if you'd like to be in a new home.
We're hearing a lot of talk about the place across the street, Colegiate Country Club, which is going to have 18 holes and then an additional 12 holes and a lot of homes. What do you know about that?
Yes, there's going to be 1,900 properties. 1,500 of the properties will be deeded golf, and then 500 social is what we're being told. We are going to be attending a VIP event next week, Vince and I, and we'll find out more details about that. We are told also that orders are being taken November 8th for initial purchases. So that's something to think about as well.
And you can help at Colegiate Country Club as well as Lakewood National.
Yes, and I think that Calusa is going to give us a really nice bump here at Lakewood National. People are going to go over to Calusa and see that they can get in on the ground level of some property purchases, but at the same time, it's going to take a few years for everything to be built up. They're going to walk over to Lakewood National across the street and they're going to say, wow, this is a great community. Everything's here. Everything's ready. It's gorgeous. So I think this community, Lakewood National, is also going to get a really nice bump from all the joint marketing efforts that are being done.
Okay, cool. Exciting times. Gene Walsh, suncoaststreams.com, the other half of the Visicaro and Walsh team. Thanks, Gene.
Thank you.
I win it,
and then you went on and you had a good junior career, enough to get the attention of some American colleges. Tell me this, was America always the goal, or it just sort of happened and you're like, why not?
It wasn't never really the goal, I guess, until I was about 16, 17 years old. A guy at my golf club, Whitehead Golf Club, he actually was in America for a couple of years. He got the opportunity. He was a really good player, and he got the opportunity to come to America, and he did it for a couple of years. And basically, there was a golf school it was Darren Clark Golf School. It was basically a 2-year program, similar. Not that you didn't get a degree, a college degree or a university degree, but it was like our equivalent to A level. So it's like you're basically the end of your high school, whatever exams you take at the end of high school, So. Basically, we did that. Sorry, excuse me, I got sinus issues. But basically, that he told me about that, and it was my parents gave me the choice whether Darren Clark Golf School or to come to college in America. So we basically pursued that. We spoke to him, pursued that, went through a company called Pro Dream USA, and they build like a platform or a database. I went to Scotland. They did swing videos, got all my stats, all my results.
So they advertised you, right?
They basically do, yeah. So that's basically how it goes. Unless you are the top amateurs in the world, then
everybody knows who you are. Right.
Correct. So they basically help you along. They obviously have the connections with the coaches and whatever. So they build that platform, and they basically go to the coach and go, hey, I could have this is someone you might want to look at, sort of deal. And that's, and then once they put that profile live, the coaches can go into those recruiting, into Pro Dreams recruiting profile basically, and they can look through all the list of players that they have and go, I'll speak to him, or I'll speak to him, or whatever. And that's sort of how it works. And yeah, I got pretty much, I took a year out. So when I finished high school, I was basically turned 19 that summer. So I took a year out. I worked for a year. Obviously my parents.
What did you do
for
work?
Greenkeeping. It was in the green stuff. I did it for 8 years. Well, I did it that year. I did a lot actually. So, the local fuel company, they did it obviously. In coming from Ireland, we don't have AC. We need the opposite. We need the central heating. So obviously the oil, for the tanks. So we would deliver the oil to the houses, that runs the central heating. So I did that in the winter, and then I did the green stuff in the summer. So yeah, I did the green stuff for 8 years, basically every summer that I came home from college. That's what I did.
That was the so. I didn't know this. So you probably have a greater appreciation for the maintenance of a golf course. You probably have a better idea of what's going on than I do, because you've done it, right?
Yeah, I mean, at the start, obviously, you get the not so nice jobs, the cutting the bushes and the raking the bunkers and, all the harder stuff, rather than sitting on the greens machine and cutting the greens for 3 hours, or the tees or the fairways, But, as went along, I did all those things. But yeah, I mean, I know how quickly something can change. One year, the day before Captain's Day, which is like our biggest day in the golf course, we had the cows got out onto the golf course and ruined our 18th green. So we were there for like 4 hours with a pitch mark repair in there, trying to fix all these hoof marks that the cows had made and on the green. So yeah, I mean, I do know what it takes. Yeah, to
tell me this, dude. Did you ever cut holes?
Oh, all the time.
Okay, so all right, stop. Let me ask you this, because I had a guy one time I was caddying for him, and he kept looking at the holes in such a way. I'm like, "Do you cut holes?" And he said, "Yeah." And he would. So, do you study the hole? Like, that's well cut. It's a little bit off.
Not so much, but yeah. I mean, I obviously being around golf so much, I see so many different pin locations. So yeah, I mean, I'm like, well, this is gonna be an interesting one, or like how it's cut. But obviously the stuff that they have nowadays to cut the holes makes life so much easier. I was there trying to hammer, the thing into the ground and making sure, basically if I twisted it the wrong way, I'd have to start again, move the hole. But yeah, I mean, we used to do it at our home golf course every Tuesday, every Thursday, every Saturday, I think, because Ladies' Day was the Thursday, Saturday was the men's day, and then we just did it on Tuesday to mix it up. So.
This guy that I had that cut holes, he was talking about the importance of being sharp, because if it's not sharp, it just takes more elbow grease, and then that roughs up the hole and everything. It was fascinating. I mean, to a non-golfer, it might just seem completely mundane, but I was locked in. I was really into it. If you can, give me a little geography lesson about or more like a political or a historical perspective on growing up in Northern Ireland. I think I have very limited knowledge. I'm of Irish blood. I maybe don't know the homeland's history as good as I should. What are the troubles, or what were the troubles, and were you affected by it growing up?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really directly affected myself. It sort of was fizzling down out in the early 90s, late 90s is when it sort of ended. So, I was born in 92, so I didn't really have, too much of it. But basically what the troubles were was, basically honestly, it's the civil war. I mean, we were fighting between each other over religion. Over the Protestants were fighting because they wanted to remain part of Britain, the UK, and obviously the Catholic. Then they were fighting to be United Ireland, to have all to be one. So obviously the British government then got involved, which caused the uproar, and then that it's basically ultimately it was down to whether you were Protestant or whether you were Catholic, and whether you wanted United Ireland or whether you wanted to be part of the UK, and that's ultimately what they were fighting for. It was so bad at one stage. It was your name, your name could have been enough to basically get you into, not necessarily into trouble, but something.
Identify you and put you in harm's way, perhaps.
Correct. Not necessarily me, but back in the times that it was rampant, or it was going on. Yeah, I mean, there were certain areas that Protestants wouldn't go to, and it was certain areas that Catholics wouldn't go to. That it's just unsafe. It's still, I wouldn't say it's still like that. It's not. People, things happen everywhere, so I wouldn't say it's any different. It's still around in certain areas for sure. Depending on where you go, you don't want to wear certain clothing. It's basically down to a football team. That's our two football teams. They're not even in Northern Ireland. They're actually two Scottish, Glasgow, from Rangers and Celtic, and that's basically the Protestants are Rangers, and then the Catholics Celtic, and you wouldn't wear a Rangers shirt in the Catholic area, and you wouldn't wear a Celtic shirt in the Protestant area, and that.
And you would know that. I mean, just be smart. It's kind of like wearing a Yankees jersey into Fenway Park in Boston. Don't be an idiot. All right.
Exactly. Don't be Don't be an idiot. And I even to this day, my parents wouldn't. My dad's from England, so he obviously moved over during the Troubles. So I mean, he knows all about it. My mum grew up in Belfast. She was born in Belfast, so she grew up through it. So even. I wasn't allowed, one of those shirts until I bought one when I was 30 years old, because, my parents were like, well, what's the point? You could just walk into the wrong person on the wrong day, and, that's,
better safe than sorry. Yeah.
Correct,
just don't even mess with it. Try and move on.
And I also think it's partly why we lived in the countryside. We were away from it all. I didn't, obviously when I was in school, we were around the things, and obviously I did go to, my first school, it was a Protestant school, and then for my last 2 years of school, I went to an integrated school where it was both Protestants and Catholics. To me, it doesn't matter. I have friends from all over, and it doesn't matter to me. But but yeah, I mean, you can still, I still wouldn't, call people. For me personally, I couldn't name or my son, my wife liked a certain name and whatever, and from the area that I'm from. I really wouldn't want to do it because it's unnecessary hassle. People will be looking at you going, "What did you say?" And obviously not. I don't think anything would happen. Anything like that. But it's just
why risk it?
What's the point?
Better safe than sorry.
Exactly. But yeah, ultimately that's what it was. It was the Protestants fighting to stay part of the UK and Britain, and the Catholics wanting the United Ireland. Ireland back as one. So that's ultimately what it was. And obviously then, the paramilitaries, obviously everyone's heard about the IRA, which were, the Irish Republican Army. They were basically fighting on the behalf of the Irish. And then obviously then the Northern Irish had the police got the brunt of it a lot. It was the police.
Yeah, they usually do. Because they're trying to restore peace,
also they were the British police, I guess. They were the RUC at the time, Royal Ulster Constabulary. So they were basically classified as the Brits. So then the IRA, that's what they would do. They would go after, obviously the paramilitary, the UDA or the UVF, those paramilitaries, and then they would, and it was the police as well, and then vice versa. Then the other ones would go after the IRA, and then it was just people. All the biggest things was bombings, and it's not very easy to get your hands on guns in Ireland at all. I mean, you can't get them nowadays unless realistically the only people that have them are the police and the farmers. I think we are the only police service in the United Kingdom and Ireland that carry guns in Northern Ireland. The rest of them don't.
Right.
So, that it was more, they joke like petrol bombs, they say, but it was basically a beer bottle filled with petrol, and someone lights a rag and puts it in, and that's what they threw. And it was,
Molotov cocktail. I think that's what we call it here in America.
They call it, I mean, so it wasn't like, big shootings and all that there. I mean, that did happen, obviously, but it was more, just riots, basically, honestly.
Yeah. Right.
I mean,
okay, I think I got it. Let's move on from that. Let's go back. Like, why did you go to Weber, and what was your college experience like from just socially and from a competitive golfing standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, Weber. Why I chose Weber. I mean, honestly, the number one reason was Florida. Coming from Ireland, I wanted the weather. I wanted to be able to play golf all year round. I think the stats like it rains like 68% of the year in Ireland. So I mean, there's only so much you can play. The golf courses get extremely wet in the summer. In the winter. So basically, I wanted the capability of playing golf all year round. And I knew that, I'd been to Florida as a young kid with my parents, went to Disney, did the Disney thing, I think in 2003 and 2004. So, I knew what Florida was like, and basically that's why. And the other reason, Weber was, like I said, it's a small school. Coming from Northern Ireland, I think in my primary school class, which was 4 through 11, ages 4 through 11, I had 12 people in my entire class. So, me going to a school with 30, 40, 50, 60,000 students, I'd have been lost. And so that was also one of the big factors, of going to a smaller school. And Weber was one of my early offers. And, I'd always told my parents at the start, if I got Florida, I want to pursue it and see what happens. And, it worked out. But yeah, I mean, everyone, as Florida is, to me, I call it the golfing capital of the world. So, everyone
100%.
Florida. So, I mean, any golfer would say, the weather is basically the key component, And
I know it's hard to compete. It's the weather here is perfect. The summers are bloody hot, but you should know that.
I don't spend too many.
But you have 8 months of perfect weather. So if
Correct.
you want to build a good golf game, you can do it here. And you did. Sure. You became an All-American. And did you think about chasing it at any point?
Yeah, I did. I did the first year or so, I guess, of college. It was sort of getting your feet on the ground and getting rolling. I think I played one tournament in that first year, and then after that, I sort of kicked on and played pretty much every tournament in the last 3 years. When I got into my junior year, I was heading to the national championship. We were a top 10 team in the country back then. We didn't even know that. We were just 5 friends that played golf together pretty much every tournament. That's what it was. And obviously we all had the same goal. So we would practice together, always play together. And, that was, I think we were third going into the final day of the national championship my junior year. So that's when really I was like, I'll go home and I thought about, I pursue this maybe, obviously come back, see how the senior year goes. I knew swing coach, I think, in the middle of my junior year, a guy called Wills Murray. He was actually, I think at the time, Sean Foley's apprentice. He helped me a lot, and basically I would say he changed the game to me. And then my whole way through my senior year, I had a lot of very good finishes, top 5. I won once in my junior year, I didn't win in my senior year, but basically, yeah, I mean, I went through that. He was like, yeah, man, you got to give it a go. And I thought about it. Basically, then the last national championship was at TPC Deer Run, where they play the John Deere Classic every year. So we went there. Obviously, I think it's, if not the lowest, it's one of the lowest scoring PGA Tour events on the calendar. So, I know that they shoot around 28 to 30 under par, or give or take, so that was basically a big telling point when we went there. And, I had a pretty good tournament, and I was nowhere near the score. So to me, then I was like, even the winner, I think the winner shot 4 under, maybe 6 under for 4 rounds of golf. And to me, even the winner was, to at least 20 shots, or maybe not, 18, 16 to 20 shots off the pace for a PGA Tour. And that was basic for me. I was like, also my parents have paid for me to go to college. They've they spent a lot of time, a lot of money, and I was like, to me, nah, I didn't. I might regret it a little bit, but see, at that point, it felt more of a job. When I was finishing college, it felt more of a job that I was having to do it because I was good, rather than I wanted to do it when I finished. If you know what I mean.
No, I know exactly what you mean. Sounds like you fell out of love with golf.
Yeah, I mean,
and did you hate it? Be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't touch the club for 18 months, pretty much, give or take. I mean, I wouldn't say I didn't touch a club, but I did maybe played 3 or 4 times in those 18 months. So yeah, I mean, I guess I did. I not necessarily lost the love for the golf. I just lost the love for the grind, and then when I played, I got frustrated because I wasn't as good. But obviously, that's what's going to happen when you're not going to practice. So, me not being as good as what I was, by not putting the time and effort in, also, I guess, took a step back, maybe take a step back as well.
Yeah, sometimes you need a break from it because it's such a grind. Competitive golf is such a grind.
Yeah.
And for those that think, oh, it's fantastic, you turn pro, it's great, you play golf. No. We know better. You and I know better for sure. So when did coaching enter the picture? Coaching,
pretty much during COVID. I started in 2020, 2020, I guess it was. The coach, my coach, I guess, she was a Weber for 27 years. I think she started the golf program, Nancy Nichols, and she basically helped me. She helped me through the 4 years, obviously, and then we stayed in touch. I stayed, helped her with the golf team, would help her with recruits, obviously, as an international student myself, and being in an international school, that helped her with recruiting and stuff. And then basically after she had some health issues, and then after COVID, she just didn't think it was best for her to sort of step away than be around, the college students who, I guess, didn't really care as much, about their health, where it mattered to her. So basically she wanted, she was pushing for me to take over. And I mean, it was an opportunity that I couldn't really turn down. How can you turn down a head golf coach job at a university in Florida? And spoke to a few people, and even one person was like, "You'd be an idiot not to take it." So I mean, it was a no-brainer. I got offered it, and went for the interview. I went to the athletic director at the school. Obviously, I'd known him. I'd worked in the IT department, got my master's. I'd helped with the golf team then, but I'd known him, and we chatted for a bit, and obviously went through some stuff, and he was happy enough, and he was like, "One more thing, for you to take this job, you have to beat me at golf." And I was like, "All right." So we went out and played 18 holes, but obviously that I did. He does play a lot of golf now. He loves it.
Did you whip his ass? Be honest.
I actually didn't play well that day, but I did beat him. But I didn't play that well that day. So
good enough, right?
It was enough to do the job. Yeah.
Perfect. What's your coaching style? I always just wonder, like, how much coaching is there to do? Like, I went to Purdue. I'm wearing my Purdue shirt here.
Yep.
And my coach was very hands off. He's like, "Look, you're all good players. You know what you need to work on. If you need my help, I'm here." And I kind of like that. But it just seems to me that coaches are a lot more hands on than maybe they were in the past. So what's your jam?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say I'm basically in between both. Certain things I am hands-on, certain things I'm not. Now, not necessarily taking a step back, that's not the right term, but I'm not as hands-on as I was, because now I have 25 players on my roster, 25 guys on my roster. So, it's unfair to them to be hands-on with a few of them, and then not. If I spend 30 minutes with one player or 45 minutes with one player, what are the other 24 players going to get? So, I'm not as hands-on as I used to be. I mean, I run practice twice a week. I try to play with them every Wednesday, because us at Weber, we get Wednesdays off, so it's a good day for qualifying. So, typically Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, I'll be with the guys. I'll play with them. We'll practice. I set the practice schedule for them, and I basically walk around, and if they want my help, then I'll give them the help. If they don't, then I step aside. Some of them do have their own swing coaches, which is, what I want. I'll tweak the swings and help them here and there, but at the end of the day, I can't dive down into their swings, each and every one of them, and start rebuilding swings, because I honestly don't have the time for that. There's other things to being a golf coach in college and just playing golf. As much as I was like, yeah, I'll be the head golf coach, I'll play a lot of golf. You do a lot of, there's still a lot of administrative stuff that comes along with it. You still get to play a lot of golf compared to other jobs, obviously, but it's not like I'm playing golf every single day. The guys are at practice every single day. The guys are, if you're in my eyes, if you're on a college scholarship, then you've achieved something in that sport, whether it be golf, whether it be football. You've achieved something in that sport that's got you that scholarship. So you maintain a certain level already, and we're just basically trying to build off that. So I'm hands-on to a certain extent. I'm more hands-on with their lives, with their helping them with other things necessarily, and golf. People, more half the team will send me their swings and whatever, and I'll look at it, and the other half are happy enough to do the thing. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I become 21 of my 25 players are international students. I become that parent figure, basically. They come to me. I'm the first person they're going to call if something happens, or something goes wrong, or whatever. If it's in the middle of the night, I'm the one that can go there or can be there, whatever it may be, rather than their parents who could be halfway across the world. So I would say somewhere in the middle, I guess.
Yes.
Hands-on and
Sounds like you got your hands full just based on the numbers of the guys you have on the rosters, the administrative stuff. And then there's caddying, right? Somehow in all this, you managed to caddy.
For sure.
When did you start doing that? And tell me, what does it do for you?
Yeah, so basically when I finished college, one of my good friends, really, really close friends, Jeff Doherty at the time, it was Philly as well, Philly Everett. They were telling me once I graduated, they were caddying at the time. Philly got Jeff out there, and Jeff's like, you got to come see this place. You got to come see this place. And I'm like, and how good can it be? Like, from Ireland, I've seen really good golf courses, but yeah, sure, no problem. He went out there, and I'm like, whoa, basically, when you're, how it is. Basically, when you talk to people, they know if you're a good player or not. So basically, yeah, I got offered a job straight on the grass. Did a shadow loop that day, and that 2016 that was. So basically, after college, and that was it. Off and running. Basically, did it ever since. Took about a year and a half off caddying to do my masters again, but. Yeah, then went back after. But yeah, I mean, what it does for me, I mean, it gives me a different outlook on, before I was caddying, I was all about being the player. I was in, being the player, swinging the golf club. It was in my head. I never really looked at it from, the outside perspective of helping. So it basically give me better course management, by just telling them, obviously when you caddy, we know where, tell them where to hit it. It's always the percentage play. So, that made me think more about that, where honestly, when you're a college golfer, you just, where's the flag? Okay, that's where we're hitting it, and that's how you make big numbers. And, you're not as experienced. And that's, to be honest, I would say if I put the work in now, I'd probably be a better golfer than I ever was, because I'm smarter. I think I'm a much smarter golfer. And I think that's the key thing. I think being a caddy makes you a smarter golfer, honestly.
Does the Irish accent help?
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially being in America, they're used to, the guests, wherever they go in the country, there's a strong chance their caddy's going to be an American. So, if they get me and the Linksy style of golf, they like that, and the accent, they obviously, some guys are like, I feel like I'm at Royal Port Rush, or I feel like I'm in Old Head, or whatever with me, and depending on the weather, you might have it. We've been out there in the days that it's 40 mile an hour to 30 mile an hour winds. So obviously things like that help. But yeah, the accent, they I've got a different perspective, a different outlook. I come from a different place, so I feel like it's not the same. It's a little different. I guess it's not the same as what they're used to. So yeah, I mean, I think it's an advantage, definitely.
Stuart Winsby is our guest here on Party Time, My Golf Story. He is the head golf coach, head men's golf coach at Weber International University. Best round of golf you ever saw? Was it you playing competitively or you on somebody's bag?
Me on somebody's bag by a long shot. Yeah, I mean, I saw a 59 and a par 73, so 14 under par. And honestly, he two-putted the last green for that 14 under par. So, he had a putt for 15 under par. If you don't know much about golf, or even if you do, I mean, 18 holes of golf and you're 15 under par, I mean, that's crazy, to be honest. Even when I think back on it, I'm just like, I mean, that obviously that was a few years after I finished college. That's 4 years. 4 years after I finished college, and me looking back on, I mean, Sam Horsfield, he won't mind me saying his name, Sam Horsfield, looking back, watching him play, that's even the guys he played, a couple of people he played with.
But it was the whole day was wild, wasn't it? Start from the beginning, like how it started, or almost didn't get off the ground and then got started and finished.
Exactly. So basically, he texted me. So Sam and I met through during COVID. We wasn't when we were in lockdown. Playing Call of Duty on the PlayStation. Honestly, that's how we met.
Tell us who Sam is, just so everybody has like a perfect picture of it.
Yeah, so Sam Horsfield is basically, he plays on Live Tour right now with Poulter, Westwood, and Stinson on the Majestic Sticks. So he played the DP World Tour for a few years. He won a couple of times on the DP World Tour. I think he won the Florida Amateur when he was 14 or something years old. I mean, he's been a standout junior golfer from such a young age, and and everyone knew that he would be somebody. He would go on to do great things, and he did. He won on the European Tour, and then he got offered some money at Live, and at that age, I don't know how many people would turn it down. His goal, I know, was to try and get his PGA Tour card. He lived in Florida. He had status in the European Tour. I think he won Q School by, I don't know, something ridiculous like 10 shots or something one year. So that's how he got his DP World Tour, European Tour card back then. And then, I think he got into the top, 80, 70, maybe even 60.
So he's a player. I mean, he's a player, and he shows up, and what happens like right out of the gate?
Yeah. So he texted me the night before, and he's like, "Hey, I got a tee time at 7:43. Can you caddy?" And I'm like, "Well, you got to send him in the email the caddy master, and we'll see." I was like, "It's late, but we'll see what happens." Within 5 minutes of him, he's like, "Okay, I got it." Within 5 minutes, I had to look. I'm like, "All right." So I think it was 7:43 tee time. So obviously I'm down there. It's like 7:30, but obviously I know Sam. He got his number, so I knew he was coming. It's like 7:30. He rocks up, and he bought a Lamborghini. And he's flying up the road, and he's screaming across the parking lot. And I can't remember, 2020, so he's, I don't know, 24 years old, 25 years old. And, he's living the dream, professional golfer. Rolls up in his Lamborghini, and he's playing with a couple of his buddies, and three of her. And I'm like, "All right, Sam, I'm like a 7:30, you hitting balls?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "I play golf every day, so I don't need to warm up." I'm like, "All right." So we rock onto the first tee, and whatever, he's, just walks up there on golf carts, drives up there. My stands up, first tee, whack down the middle, next shot onto the green, 2-putt birdie. All right, whatever. And next hole, hits it to this, taps in, 2 under. Okay, go to the third hole, same thing, bang. This close, tap in. All right, 3 under, 3-3. Okay, this guy's good. Get on the next to par 5, and he hits driver down the middle. And these are off the tips, like 74, 100 yards. I don't know. That day it was 72, 100, 300 yards, whatever. Hits it down the middle, hits forward to on the par 5, even closer than the rest to this, taps it in. He's 5 under, 3-4 holes, and we're all looking around.
Okay, all right, stop. 5 under through 4 holes.
Yeah.
Just for brevity's sake. He keeps it rolling, but what happens on 18 when it really, the rubber meets the road?
Yeah, so even I actually look back at the scorecard, even after 15 holes. He was 12 under par. Yeah, he was 12 under par, and the girl he was playing with, Sierra Brooks, she was 8 under par at the time. So, there's 20 under par for 2 rounds. So we get the 18, and he's hit it down the middle. He's got 289 yards or something into the green, and he's like, I'm going to cut forward. And I'm like, Sam, it's 290 yards. It's into the wind. And he's like, I'm going to cut this forward. I got it. And I'm like, but it's 290 yards. And he's like, I got it. And I'm like, all right. And he's like, I'm going to hit the cut off this bunker. And I'm like, all right. I at that stage, I think I told him again, I was like, Sam, it's 290 yards into the wind. And he's like, I got it. So he hits it, per line he said, and as soon as he hit it, it's like efficiently throws the club, and he knew it. This thing, exactly what he said, like 15 feet behind the hole. But I'm like, he's got a 15-footer for 58 and 15 under par. And I mean, I have the video, and I mean, he leaves it like a inch, not even half an inch short of the hole for 58. And he taps it in. I think there was like 40 people, people didn't know him. They knew he was 7 under par. He shot 29 the front 9. He'd know, everyone knew.
Oh,
so
wow.
There was a few people up there, some
cool.
of the pros and whatever, so they knew that he was doing it. But yeah, I mean, 59 off the tips, par 73. I mean, I don't
crazy
think
good. Best round.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever see anything better than that, honestly.
What's your best round? Take me there.
Yeah, my best round, shot 65, 7 under par. Yeah, it might be my lowest. I was actually playing a little match play event against one of my college athletes. We were playing, they wanted me to play to make the numbers even. So, yeah, I think I was 3 under, 3-4, and then bogeyed the 18. We started on 10, bogeyed 18 to go to 2 under, and I think I shot 5 under. I think I lipped out for 6 under for 30 in the back 9, and he had just looked at me and he was like, Coach, I don't know how to beat that. But going by, I'd say I shot a 65 in my club championship. I actually shot 77 the first round, and I had a bad wrist, and I wasn't even going to play in the second round. My brother was like, just play. He's like, what do you got to lose? Just play. And I was like, all right. So went up the first, hit it up the middle. Next shot, hold it from 105 yards. So 2 under, 3-1. Next hole's a par 3, hit it onto the green, hold it for a 2. So I start 2-2, and I'm like, okay. And then I was 5 under through 6 holes, and basically, I finished 65 and ended up winning my club championship by two shots. But I would say that's probably my bet, even though it's not my lowest. That was probably my best round of golf because I was injured, and basically when I was 5 under through 6 holes, everything went away. Like the pain had went away. It was one of those, the golfers talk about being in that zone.
In the zone, it's all going in.
The pain wasn't there. I was just playing golf, and all of a sudden I hit the putt in the last hole. It was like a 40-footer, and it rolled up to like, half a foot. And that's when I was like, whoa, this is 18. It's done. I didn't even, it was one of those moments you're like, whoa, you're in the zone. So I'd say that was probably my best round of golf.
That's cool. Hey, tell me this. You give me some Irish a feel for the land. Who is the people's champion in Ireland?
Well, I mean, to me, it's probably Shane Lowry. It depends who you ask, I guess. Probably the people from Northern Ireland would say Rory McIlroy. The others would maybe say Shane Lowry or Padraig Harrington or something. But I'd say Shane Lowry for me. I grew up with his, not necessarily grew up, but I played a lot of golf with his younger brother, playing in Ireland and the boys under 18 competitions and stuff. So I got to hear a lot of things about Shane and I mean, winning the Irish or the Open Championship at Portrush. I mean, he's proud of where he comes from. He comes back all the time. He's a big Irish sports fan. Big Irish rugby fan. GAA, Gaelic football. He's a big fan of his club and stuff. He'll go to all the games, the Irish rugby games when he's at home, and he's a big family man. And coming from Ireland, that's a big thing. He loves the culture. He loves the crack, is what they say in the beers, or in the bars. He's definitely the one that I'd love to drink a Guinness with for sure. I always joke and tell people, when people ask me about him, I was like, anyone that drinks Guinness out of the claret jug's a winner in my eyes. So, there's no doubt in my mind he's had plenty of pints of Guinness out of that thing,
How many, tell me this, how many pints of Guinness would Shane have to have before he catches a buzz?
I don't know. It depend. I mean, he spends a lot of time in America, so if he's like any Irishman or like me, like my cousin once told me, he was a big rugby guy. He's like, I won't drink Guinness out of Ireland. I won't ever drink Guinness out of the Isle of Ireland. So,
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Are we not drinking the same Guinness that you're drinking in the homeland?
I don't know. Well, I mean, yes, it probably. I don't know if it comes from the same place, but it's the longer it sits there, the longer it sits in a keg, the longer it sits in a tap, the worse it gets. So,
okay.
If I'm going to drink a pint of Guinness in America, it basically has to be popular. I'll ask how popular the Guinness is, because if it's sat in this keg or in this tap for so long, obviously in Ireland, pretty much every pint that's ordered or every other
it's
pint
fresh.
It's Guinness, so they're running through the Guinness kegs, and it's fresh, and it's not sitting there. So, but yeah, I mean, I always tell people, like, the Guinness, even the Guinness in England compared to Ireland, there's no comparison. But I mean,
so Ireland has the true sweet. Ireland has the true sweet nectar. The rest of us are getting something lesser. Okay.
Yeah. You just need to look at an Irishman's face. If I drank a pint of Guinness and you just look at my face, and you could tell before I even set the glass down whether it was a good pint or not.
Yes. The face does not lie. Give me an outsider's view. I always ask this of expats. We have some problems in this country, but I know quite a few Irishmen and others, and they tell me, yeah, there are problems in America, but this is a great country. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, to me, there's problems everywhere, so it doesn't matter where you are. But yeah, I mean, I mean, I guess I wouldn't be here, like we said earlier. I do want to stay here. The opportunities you get, if I did move back to Northern Ireland, am I going to be in the golfing world? Probably not. And the opportunities that you can get over here, I guess the money that you can make as well. The standard of living may be more expensive over here, but like it cancels it out where you make a lot more money. Where back home the standard of living is probably not as expensive, but you're not making anywhere near as much money. But I wouldn't be here if I didn't love it. I went through all the immigration stuff, got my green card, and I can do my citizenship test, but I'm not going to do it until I get back from Northern Ireland when I go home for Christmas, and because I have to wait till I get my American passport, but I want to go home. So that's basically why I'll wait. But yeah, I mean, I love it. I do, like you said. They have problems, but so does everywhere. I mean, so does Northern Ireland still. We just talked about it.
Yeah, so, there's a reason people come here and make a lot.
And you've got everything. Like I always tell people that, obviously coming from outside of America, people are like, "Oh, Americans never travel," blah blah. And I'm like, "Yeah, but I've spent the time here, so they don't need to. If they want to go skiing, then they go up north to wherever, Denver or wherever, to get the ski resorts. They want the sun. They come to Florida. They go to Texas, or they go wherever. They don't have. You guys don't have to leave America to get what you want. From Northern Ireland, if I want the sun, we had to go to Spain or somewhere like that. Or if we wanted to go skiing, then we'd have to go fly somewhere else. So we had to have passports, and that's why we travel so much. But if we want those things, then that's what we had to do. Where you guys can just you would just hop in your car and you could drive to the place where we can't drive anywhere. I can drive to the bottom of Ireland and back again, but there's no sun down at the bottom of Ireland. So if it's raining up north, it's raining down there probably.
Right. Tell me about your wife. How did you meet her? Love a good love story, so share as much as you can. And does she understand the role that golf plays in your life, and sometimes the time demands that come with it?
Yeah, I mean, so I met her in a bar. Shock.
Yeah.
But she worked there at the time. Me and a few buddies, senior year of college, basically. What happens? We were having a good time. My two buddies they'd graduated at the time, but we were. I had only a few classes to take. I was still playing golf, practicing. We had a good time most nights, and we would go to this bar, and it was a Beef O'Grady's, and she was working there with the girls. All the girls that worked there were around the same age as us, so the place would close at like 10 or 11, depending on the day. We would literally helped him clean up the floors, literally sweep the floors. We got to know the owner. He didn't care, he'd help us. He would help us, and we would then go to another bar, and basically we all got friendly, and that's how my wife and I met. And we went from there. This was the early stages of my senior year of college, so 2015 basically. Even then I didn't know if I was going to stay in America. Even my senior year of college, started senior year of college, but obviously meeting my wife at the time, or my girlfriend at the time, meeting Britt at the time. So, changed the things. Obviously we get different visas and stuff after we graduate, and that's how we met. Things sort of kicked off from there. Obviously it was difficult for a while because, when I was going through immigration, when we start the immigration process, we can't work. So I couldn't work for a while. That was basically when I was doing my master's and whatever. So, my wife took on a lot of the, the financial side of things while we were doing that. And then, when we had our first son, Jackson, 2018, it sort of, she still worked a lot. And then once I get my, the immigration stuff, the paperwork, then basically I went back to work. And then a couple of years later, I got the golf coach job, but, I was caddying before all of that. Then obviously took the time off going through that, and then went back to the caddying. So she, she's very supportive of golf, because at the end of the day, I wouldn't be in America if it wasn't for golf.
Right, and you wouldn't know her. So that's the magic. That's how golf is the thread that, like, for those that are deeply immersed in it, like we are. Mm-hmm. If we take golf out of the picture, who knows what we're doing?
Exactly, and she knows, and she knows golf takes 4.5 hours. It's not like a football, soccer match, and it's over in 90 minutes. She knows, and and she knows that at the end of the day, I do love playing golf, no matter if I don't like it at certain times. She loves that I play golf, so that's she
gets it. It's a part of who you are.
Yeah, she's probably sick of hearing a lot of it, and she's like, "Hey, we're talking about golf again." But yeah, I mean, she obviously very supportive of it, because it's basically what my life involves. Every aspect of my working life, or what I enjoy doing is golf, because a lot of our golfers and their time off play golf.
Right. So as we wind down here, Stu, just tell me this: how big of a part is golf in your life, and could you imagine life without it?
Probably not, honestly. No, because I wouldn't be in the places that I am if it wasn't for golf. Like we just said, I wouldn't be the coach. I wouldn't have the experience that I had, in college. The friends I've met, the people I met in college from all over the world. Obviously my wife, like I said, the coach and the caddying. I honestly know. I mean, I'm glad that my parents and my dad sort of pushed me towards it, but I couldn't really imagine it without it, because that's basically what my life's encompassed for the last 20 years, probably. It's basically all done for 20 odd years.
That's my story. You told my story. I just can't imagine my life with golf in it. If golf wasn't in my life, I wouldn't know you if there wasn't any golf.
Exactly.
And so, hey man, listen, I really appreciate the time. I told you I'd keep you for a half hour. We almost talked for an hour, and the time flew. Good luck with the season coming up. Yep. I will see you on the golf course, and at some point we got to get out and play and stop talking about golf and everything. Stuart Winsby has been our coach. Stuart Winsby, the head coach at Weber International, has been our guest here at Party Time, My Golf Story. Big thanks to Party Drinks. If you're looking for a drink alternative on the golf course, then Party is a drink for you. And a big thanks to the Golf Real Estate Pros of Vince Vizzacaro and Gene Walsh. SuncoastDreams.com, a division of fine properties in the greater Sarasota area. If you need real estate needs, they're the people for you. For Stuart Winsby, I'm Kevin Walsh. We'll see you again next time on Party Time, My Golf Story.
You've been listening to It's Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. Classically designed golf drinks for golfers by golfers, and the golf real estate pros Gene Walsh and Vince Vizzacaro. For your Southwest Florida real estate needs, check them out at suncoastdreams.com or call 941-220-4000.
Vince Fizzicaro and Gene Walsh with the SuncoastDreams.com real estate team at Fine Properties. We've helped hundreds of families find their dream homes in golf and resort communities in Lakewood Ranch, Bradenton, Sarasota, Parrish, Venice, and the surrounding areas.
Let us be your guides to finding your dream home here as well. Learn more at suncoastdreams.com or call us at 941-220-4000.